One day, bro, I'm going to learn how to play the guitar. And when we show up on the screen, I'm just going to keep finishing that riff. It's coming one of these days. I got a long way to go. Welcome to the Grapevine Show.
I'm going to get this all day.
Yeah, you do that. I am Chris Hughes. To my right is Eric Kaiser. And I do not think Cian Franco will be joining us tonight due to out of town and bad internet. So you got me and Eric tonight. That's what's up.
This internet troubles are the name of the game today, apparently.
Apparently,
I'd like Eric's to reset. I'm over at Can you hear me?
Eric's also suffering from bad internet. Looks like I'm the only one with quality internet tonight. This could be the Chris Hughes show in the next 5 minutes. I don't know. So there is a link in the chat. If anybody wants to join tonight's show, we're going to spice this up a little bit because I'm curious to talk to random people about how their company handles 3-day weekends. That is currently the topic on the table. So I could tell you how we did it. And we were old school. We kind of did what probably everybody did. We, when we would get a 3-day weekend, we would flip-flop back and forth between, there was half the people were like, well, if the holiday's on a Monday or Friday, we would carry the 3-day holiday with that person. So we would run out the holidays. That way if somebody decided to go out of town for a 3-day holiday, they didn't have to jet back because they were on call on that Monday, right? So that's kind of how we did it. But then there was times where that actually flopped inside our family's business where we started doing the 2 days and someone would have to come back on that third day because it just gets a little lopsided. I think we went both ways, but then we ended up going back to the original where we just carried that last holiday. But man, there's some interesting ways to handle that. And I've heard a lot more people discuss this, and I'm curious to know what creative ways maybe people are figuring out how to deal with this situation. Eric, do you have anything you would like to add into that topic? Eric is frozen, or he's really quiet, or he doesn't know what to say. Or he has really bad internet. Tom says he'd like to join the chat.
Can you see me now?
Working.
I got crappy internet. Can you see me now?
Yeah. So
this internet is awesome, man. Let me just say, this is working great.
All right. So if anybody's in the show, come on the show because Eric has terrible internet, and this is about to be my show. All by myself.
Let's try that. Is that any better?
Yeah, it's got some lag, but it's all right. But
okay, well that's better. So I mean, what I'm seeing right now is there's a lot of companies going to no on call.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen a large number of companies transitioning away from any on call. They're running regular during the week. They'll run till like maybe 8 p.m. or something like that. And then they're done.
So I will add to that. Speaking on that, we did lay down, I would say the last 2 years when I was at Hughes, we laid down a rule that anything after 8 p.m., it became discretionary to the service tech on call, whether he wanted to go out or not. And unless it was like a dire emergency, right? If someone's like ceiling has fallen down from water, which we never had that issue, but it was kind of understood that if it happened, you had to go. But typically if somebody was just hot, tough luck. At 8 p.m., they got to make that call, whether they wanted to go or not go. Didn't get many calls after 8 though. I guess our customer base was pretty considerate. Jimmer said, "You're about to be the me of Grapevine." That's right. All right. Single solo show. This ought to get really interesting. I wonder if I could talk for 45 minutes. Jennifer, you're in here. Get on the show. So, how did we handle on call? So, we had a lot of commercial contracts. And so, let's see. If I want to dive deep into this, I have written many commercial contracts. Here's what I'll say. Sitting at the table with lots of business owners and having discussions with them about their on-call needs, I never wrote down a specific time in my contracts that said I would be there within 24 hours. Never had to write that statement. Rarely did I not get a contract because I didn't write that statement. I was asked about it a few times, but rarely was it something that was demanded of me. Typically, when they would ask and they would say, how do you respond? We would write in the contract, we will respond in a timely manner. That is the wording we chose to write in our contracts when we would do commercial contracts. And then they would follow up with the question and they would say something along the lines of, well, what is a timely manner, of course? And you're like, look, I would say we have lots of contracts and we manage a lot of facilities. And so here's how we would answer that question. We would say, if you have a water leak or your building is detrimental or there's more of a root cause of a problem that's going to happen from us not getting there, then we're going to have somebody stop what they're doing and head your way. Now, that being said, if you've got a gymnasium that has 40 tons of air conditioning and 30 tons of it is running and a 10 ton of that circuit's out, and we need to schedule that for the next day's repair, then that might be tomorrow morning service call and not an emergency run, right? Because you don't, unless there's something big scheduled in the gym. Once we would lay that conversation down like that, most people were very understandable. And that goes across the board from schools to churches to you name it, except hospitals. Hospitals don't really like that talk. They really don't want to hear be there the next morning. They want you to jump and run. Those are the only clients I would say that will push you and say, we want a time stipulation. But here's the fun part about, being in air conditioning. You don't have to have that client, right? We are in high demand and you get to pick and choose your clientele, which is really nice. We're kind of in a really sweet spot in this trade. What do you think, Eric, now that you're back?
I'm back. Is this working better now?
Yeah, way better.
Sweet. I moved a lot closer to the router, so hopefully that will help.
Yeah, man, it's crystal clear. So did you do any hospital work, Eric? Did you have any hospital clients?
I didn't have hospital clients. We had some surgery center clients.
Yep.
I will say probably the two most demanding clients I had were some manufacturing clients, like when they're running 24-hour shifts, or just kind of production clients where they're running 24 hours a day and they're losing tons of money if stuff isn't running right.
Yeah.
Now a lot of the companies that I'm seeing that are getting away from the on-call are more in the residential sector. Where I think there's going to be a difference there, and a lot of people are able to, in the residential sector, say, look, grab some window units, get some electric heaters, whatever, to keep yourself until the next day, and we're going to get to you till the next day.
Let me spin that conversation, being we're talking about residential. I've had this conversation a few times, and I'm really wanting to understand maybe someone from the north who deals with this. We have, the big heat pump push that's going down. And my one statement has been, who's going to go outside and fix the heat pump when it's covered in snow? That is a horrible service call, I would imagine, right? But I've heard people who live way up north and do heating and air that a big part of the business practice is to go to that person's home, put out space heaters, and run space heaters until they get back. So I'm curious, is that what people in the north do? Is that a very consistent thing? I mean, do you have like 100 space heaters just at the shop and you just deploy them and then go back and make repairs? Like that is natural business. I mean, we'd never do that here, but
we used to keep space heaters even on the trucks, even for for gas furnaces. Hey, Jennifer.
Hey.
And
speaking of northerners in the chat, we have a northerner right here in the chat.
But yeah, I mean, we would loan space heaters, we would loan window units, or we would just tell our customers to go buy some at Walmart or whatever else. I mean, they're cheap to keep around for emergencies.
Yeah. Jen, do y'all?
And when it's cold here, it is an emergency, so it's not like they can make it till the next day. They got to have something to get them through, and energy costs ridiculous amounts of money here. So we got to be really quick and make sure they're not running a bunch of space heaters, blowing their light bill up. But otherwise, yeah, that is what we do.
So do y'all's company, do y'all have like a bunch of space heaters just hanging out? Like just a ton of them? And here's an interesting follow-up question to that. What do you charge to go deploy space heaters?
I don't.
Oh,
I don't.
okay.
A lot of companies do. They'll charge like $30 a day or something. I don't charge that. I just want my customers to be warm until I can get back there. They're already commissioning me for the job, so what I do.
Yeah,
So
we rarely charged anything for that when I did it. It was always just we'd go out and put it in, and that was kind of our way of helping to gain that business.
Yeah, it's like a loss leader, I guess. If you put some space heaters in someone's house, they're probably gonna be like, hey, you do whatever you got to do. Charge me whatever you got to charge me. Thanks for the space heaters.
Most of the time, yeah. I mean, if I were to do it today, I think today people shop a lot more. If I were running the business today, I think I would have a daily rate or something like that on there, because there's some other costs that people don't realize with putting heaters into a house to a business outside of just buying those heaters and dropping them off. You also have to have insurance costs, because if the business owns that space heater, you then have a liability to that. So you really need to build your liability insurance cost into that as well. And probably what I would do is I would charge a daily rate, and I would tell them, hey, if you have us do the repairs or you have us do the, replace the equipment, we'll just wipe that cost out. But if you go with somebody else, this is going to be a daily rate, and I'm going to charge that.
Sounds like
so we won't even do it unless we know for a fact they're coming through us. Like if I show up and I diagnose it and I'm waiting on, a blower motor or something like that they need in order to have heat, then I'll put the heaters in. Otherwise I won't. And I make them sign a liability waiver as well, because like Eric said, and space heaters, especially electric ones, are a liability on their own. They're crappy technology. So you got to be really careful of that.
Yeah, and then you get little kids or pets or something running around, knocking them over and doing all kinds of stupid stuff. Yeah.
Man, you want to hear a crazy story about a rental? This happened to me many, many years ago. I got a call because there was this big glass building in Baton Rouge. It's like a 6-story building, and the FBI rented out a specific suite, like a whole floor in this building. And they wanted an air conditioner for like the IT room area where just tons of heat load. And we just kind of talked to them. I think I can't remember the name brand of the unit, but it was pretty expensive. I mean, I guess, I don't know, maybe not crazy expensive, but I think it was like $6,000 for this roll around air conditioner that I think was about 2.5, 3 tons worth of cooling. And I told him, I said, look, it's literally simple. You plug it into the wall, we'll run a drain line from the pump, no big deal. Like, we'll duct it into the ceiling, which was open return ceiling, back to the big unit that runs the whole floor. Easy install. And I kept trying to just sell it to him. I was like, look, pay me for the install. I'll put a little margin on it, whatever will be done. But they're not allowed to buy anything. They're only allowed to rent things.
Yep.
So, I said, okay, well, let's see if we can figure this out. I said, well, I'll rent it to you, but I'll make you sign a contract. And I was like, and if you keep it every month after that, we won't continue the contract as long as you're paying the monthly rent on it. and then I'll come pick it up if you decide you don't want it anymore, and I'll own it and I'll just rent it to you. And they said that's fine. So I did a 1-year rental contract with this thing to the FBI. And I charged I don't know, $600 a month. Basically, I told my dad, I was like, I kind of want to keep it. I'll make a little bit of money, but I'm not trying to get rich. So I rented it to him. Well, it stayed there for 4 or 5 years, right? And they rented it every month. So this thing paid for itself 8 times. It was insane how much money we made on this portable rental unit, which once again goes to show you how much money the federal government just wastes, right?
Yeah.
Insane. Yeah. But that's the way they operate. So if anybody's out there and you get a call from some federal department that wants to do air conditioning work with you, take it and run with it because you're about to make a lot of money.
We actually did. We did the U.S. Customs House in Portland, Maine. And it was the same thing. It was just constant wasteful spending. We'd be like, we can do it this way for cheaper. And they're like, no, do it this way for more expensive.
Yeah.
And it's federal wage, right? So they're paying us, $52 an hour on top of our regular $125 an hour wage. It was insane how much money we made to do absolutely nothing.
Yep, exactly.
Crazy.
Yep. It's good money. It's a good money racket, but I don't know.
Yeah. Headache.
Well, Eric, did you freeze again?
No, I'm just sitting here listening.
I'm trying to think if there was any more rentals. If anybody in the chat, if you've got a rental story like that, we want to hear it. This is open mic night. Get in the show. Come hang out.
If you look at things like rental chillers and rental stuff like that, I've had to deal with a couple of things like that. And when you got to have it, you got to have it.
Yep.
And one of the things that some people like about rentals is they don't know how long they're going to be in a place. And one of the challenges, like you mentioned for the federal government, if they buy something, then they have to go through the disposal process when it's done, because that's a whole other process that they have to go through to dispose of things. And, sometimes it's actually easier to spend more money on the head end and not have to go through that process on the back end.
Yep. So Brian asks, did it take forever to get paid from the government? Nope, not at all, man. It's
the easiest money you can make.
Yeah, as long as your paperwork is spot on, you're getting paid. Now, if you have any discrepancies in your paperwork, they are going to wring you through the mud. They are paperwork Nazis, right? Because everything's got to be perfect. But if you do your paperwork properly, it's just easy money.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll even just pay on an expense card or a credit card or whatever too.
Yeah, a lot of the time.
Yep.
Eric, did you see that Chris became the honorary misfit last night?
What?
I did not.
Oh, man. Yeah, I was HVAC'd it last night, man. I go ahead.
I keep missing the Misfit show because I often have other things going on Saturday nights. We committed to this Sunday night.
Yeah,
I gotta catch it one of these nights.
It's fun.
I get in a little bit of trouble if I spend too much time on HVAC.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, man. I don't. I literally spend every minute thinking about it. This is kind of sad. Every minute, waking moment, weekend. It's kind of bad. I think I need to find a hobby. You know what I mean?
This is my hobby. Oh, I have news for you both too. I've been waiting to tell you guys this. I don't know if you heard or not, but I am headed down Wednesday to Boston to run a manual J at Steve's brother's house.
Oh yeah, you took Steve's brother's job?
I took it.
Dang, that's awesome. So
I'm
we're
so excited about
going to see some video content.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
you will.
It's
a pretty easy job, but it's the first real, not really engineering, but the first engineering job that I have been contracted since I got out of school. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's small, it's tiny, but it's awesome.
Nice.
You know what we ought to do? We should play this out on this show. You run out the job, and then I'll invite Steve on the show, and we can talk about that job.
That would be awesome.
So,
I think that's a crazy content idea. I love that.
Yeah, that would be a fun conversation. You're a daring devil, man, to go take that job with knowing Steve's going to be asking you a million questions.
So this is my theory, is that Steve would not have given it to me if he didn't have faith in me, first of all.
Yep.
Second of all, I have all the faith in myself in the world because I'm just like that. I just know that I can't fail, so I won't. But on top of that, it's something that I already know, so I'm okay with it. If it was anything bigger than this or something I hadn't done before, I would be terrified. I'm
So-
already a little terrified.
To fill everybody in on the chat, my boss, Steve Rogers, who owns the conservatory, who's like a super nerd, right? We toss around the word savant a little bit, you know what I mean? Because his brain just ticks like it's like a robot half the time when you're talking to him. So his brother's air's out. Are they looking at replacing the unit? That's the game
Yeah.
plan? Yeah.
It's actually 2 units, but yeah, we're replacing them both. And it's heat and AC, so.
Dang. Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of data. You have the luxury of telling Steve, I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I can't do it. I need it. I actually asked for it, so
Yeah.
I asked for this. He
he's gonna-
posted about it, and I said, well, I'm in Maine, and I do work in Boston, and so a couple days later, he mulled it over, I guess, and here we go. I'm excited, and I'm scared, and I think it's gonna. If I can do this, I'm gonna feel a lot better about myself.
Yeah, but think about how far you're being pushed out your comfort zone by taking that, and that's what I've learned in HVAC through my careers. And I think this came after about 10 years of being in the trade. After about 10 years, I started taking jobs that I was a little bit nervous about. And then I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm just going for it. Whether I screw it up or not, I'm going to learn something. And I started just like attacking things left and right. And, my dad being next to me a lot helped me a lot take those kind of jobs because I knew I had my saving grace right here. So I wasn't as nervous because of that. He was pretty
That's
good.
kind of why I'm nervous. Like I'm the only one at my company that does heat load calc, so I'm kind of alone in it. And I definitely didn't grow up with a trade background. I've just done this on my own pretty much. So
you've got an HVAC army over here that you can
exactly. And that's what I told Steve. I said, I'm sure if I need help, I will find it somewhere.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you got lots of help right here. Just hit us up. Any one of us are going to be willing to help out on, especially on load calcs. There's a lot of interesting different ways to look at things and all the inputs. There's a lot of things to think about on that. But I'll speak for myself. I'm more than willing. Hit me up. I'll be happy to help.
Thanks, Eric. I definitely will, you guys, for real.
All right, question. Which program are you using to run load calcs on?
So I've been using CoolCalc, but Adam reached out yesterday when he heard about me doing Steve's job, and he recommended Cubicasa. I haven't done it yet, but he's willing to walk me through it. So I think I'm going to try that out.
So you're going to scan it, and then you're thinking about putting it in Quick Model or putting it in another program?
Probably Quick Model, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm going down myself because I want to take the measurements myself. I want to take the numbers myself, and then I'm just going to put everything in there. See what pops out, and then if I don't believe it, then I'll fix it by hand if I have to. We'll see.
Well, sometimes
sometimes
it's not always about believing it. Like you got to have some confidence there to believe the numbers that puts out too.
Right. Right.
Quick Model. If you've never used Quick Model, hit me up.
Yeah.
There's also a Quick Model users group that me and Henry started.
Is this Neil Comparetto? Does anybody know if that's Neil Comparetto right there? Or is that a DLC?
I want to know right now who that is.
I want to know who that is, man. Because if that's
I've been looking for Neil Comparetto, man.
In the show, I want to know what rock he's been living under. That's what I want to know.
He took a break.
I heard
somebody
said he was like off Facebook and he's just like taking a break for a while. So I don't know.
Everyone. He ghosted us.
He did. He's just gone,
dude.
No, it's
that was Neil then. If he ghosted us,
not Neil Comparetto.
Oh,
different Neil, guys.
Different Neil.
We still like you, Neil C.
We do.
Neil's a good guy.
Stick around, buddy.
We just got history with the other Neil C.
We miss
our buddy.
Some history we won't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
What goes on in Orlando stays in Orlando.
That's right.
Hey, what the heck are you doing sitting next to a gas furnace, Mike?
Oh,
man, what storage closet did you find with internet?
Yeah, dude. This is all I got, man. They kicked me out.
Dude, they let you near a gas furnace in a basement? Because I know that's a basement. and you're next to a gas furnace. Two things that people from Florida know nothing about.
What do you
I'm
think I
concerned,
posted on
Mike.
the grapevine? I was like, what the hell? What's that?
Mike's going, what the hell's up with these white pipes?
What is that?
That's the
Bro,
thing that most of us have to deal with.
You want to add humidity? I turn that shit off. Turn that off. Ooh. Man, unbelievable.
Goodness.
I had to tape this all up, man.
Oh, yeah?
This shit was all rigged, man. I had to hook it up. He's got a 5-inch filter though.
That's all that
5-inch
matters.
filter,
Can't beat that.
right? 5-inch
Yeah.
But
filter,
there's
no tape, no glue.
Wait,
I bet
what?
there's no turning vanes in the bottom of that drop either.
Oh,
is
Yeah.
guaranteed, baby. Guaranteed. Nothing.
How is there an April Air sticker on the return, but not an April Air box?
I know,
April
right?
Air-
I thought the same thing.
They cut it off an old system.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Healthy home
They-
solutions.
they just replaced that furnace and the air cleaner with the Lennox stuff, and they left the April Air there because the humidifier is April Air.
You think
Yeah.
so? I'm
Oh,
sitting
it's
here thinking,
100%.
I'm wondering if they ripped the April Air like jumbo return box and just ripped it off because it didn't match the cabinet. you
No.
know,
Dude,
Could
check
be.
this
They
out. The
replaced
coil's on the other side. Oh, look at
Yep,
this guy.
on the backside.
What's
What
going
the
on,
heck?
buddy? What's going on, buddy?
Why does that dog look like it's wearing somebody's underwear on its head?
So the coil's on the backside.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually kind of nice sometimes because it doesn't get in the way of the flue pipes if
Yeah,
you got
bingo.
space to do it.
There's that guy again.
What really is that though?
He's spooking me out. He's spooking me out. Halloween.
you need to bring
Halloween
this
stuff.
dog in, bro. That needs to be the show mascot right there.
All right, buddy. Everything's gonna be fine. That's the grapevine dog.
That's
Oh
what I'm
my
going
goodness.
for Halloween as.
Absolutely.
Grapevine dog.
We will close
Yeah, I don't know
the
what's going
dog
on.
and bring him home.
So I tried hooking it up, man. You know, I got no tools up here. I didn't bring my True Flow grid.
You
So,
brought your squeegee,
Well-
though. It's tape and squeegee.
Mhm.
yeah, I do.
Hey,
I
there's-
had some silver tape.
Dude, there's duckboard back there. He's from Florida. He knows duckboard.
That's right. Yep. Ain't
I'm a
nobody,
duckboard king.
ain't nobody squeegee duckboard like a guy from
Don't-
Florida.
Don't tell John Ellis. John doesn't like the fiberboard.
I don't mind it,
But-
man. I don't mind
But
it.
yeah,
but
man.
I
The
didn't learn
third
later
floor,
on in
the
life.
third floor was like really hot. It was like 76, and then the main floor was 70, and the basement was like, I don't know, 42 degrees or something like that. Is that normal for you guys up north?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what
from
I did was I took a
Good
bunch of
Lord.
aluminum foil and I just stuffed it in the grills in the basement. And I go, bro, in the summer, it's gonna be good. Now in
So you
the
forget.
heating season, the heating season, you gotta go in there and grab that shit out and pull it out.
No, leave it in
10
there
out of 10, they
probably.
don't remember.
Leave it in there. Yeah.
That's going to be a service call.
So
For
most of the time, even in heating dominant climates in the basements, they'll try to blow a bunch of heat in there, but
Yeah.
none of the walls are insulated.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, what,
they
oh,
just
oh,
end up
hold on,
losing
hold
all
on.
the heat
What
anyhow.
do we got? We got some R13.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
Ooh, Vanna
Pink
White.
fuzzy
Vanna White.
stuff. Ooh,
Look how nice and tight it is.
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, she's curvy like Shakira.
Mike, you've been doing a little drinking?
Oh no, I'm fine.
Sipping on
I'm great.
Grandpa's cough medicine over here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good. Oh, there's my
So-
drink.
Mike's, just to let everybody know, Mike's on vacation and he made it to the show. Dude, the dedication is just, if we made money, I'd give you a raise right now.
I miss you guys. That's what it is. It's all
Yeah.
You
about the
guys
love,
got to
baby.
monetize. I couldn't do super chats last week. I was so mad.
Oh, well, we have to learn how to use things like the internet better and then we'll get there.
I was gonna make fun of Chris and do like a $50 super chat so that it would be okay, but it wouldn't let me.
Wait, what's a $50 super chat? I could use 50.
We can
bucks.
get new
So,
shirts.
yeah, so on YouTube, on YouTube, if you monetize, if you click the monetize button, you have to have so many viewers, but I'm sure you guys already have it. It's not that many.
I don't
But
know.
then people in the chat can do a super chat or super sticker where they donate to the channel and they can just say whatever they want, basically.
Yeah, that sounds like it's gonna go right up there with my Subco dollars. 5 cents,
Ooh,
5 pennies,
Yep.
everyone. Here we go.
Hey,
do
we
it.
did it. We were able to do ads on Spotify, and we're making like 14 cents a month or something.
all
Dude.
right.
Moving on up.
Moving
That's-
on, man. I'm just gonna
that's
get.
worth-
To the east side.
I'm just
That's
gonna have
almost worth
trash
opening
can
a
in here
bank
and I'm gonna
account
put all
for.
my pennies in it, and then eventually I'm gonna sit down like an old grandma and I'm gonna roll every one of them. It's gonna take me like, I don't know, half a year, and then I'm gonna go cash it in for $126.
It'll be worth it.
The plan.
Let's do
Oh,
it.
I got a
Let's do
baby
it.
crying, guys. I'm gonna dip out. I'll be in the chat.
Thanks, Jen.
Later.
So yeah, here's the plan, guys. We're gonna collect pennies. We're gonna roll them. Whenever we get to like $200, we gotta like start a website and we gotta get some materials out there. Like we need to make an image of that dog, man. We need a dog sticker.
We need a mascot, baby.
We need a mascot. I think
Grape dog.
that dog is our mascot.
Let me go get that grape dog.
I got plans.
Mike's friends are going to be like, "What happened to our dog?"
They're gonna want to know where the hell I went. Actually,
We could have a picture of a dog and we'll put some duckboard tape in its mouth, like it's going to fetch the tape.
I like
love
that.
it. Dude, that's a sticker right there. That is a grapevine sticker. Everybody get ready, because the dog with tape is coming.
Get the dog. That's it.
You got squeeze? Yeah, there you go. Boom. Perfect. I love it. Make sure that goes home with you.
Go
That's
dog.
it.
Absolutely.
My camera guy sucks this week.
Telling you, man.
It's
You
that
be-
budget. I'm on that
you be-
budget.
You'd be better off letting the dog hold the camera.
He's got like a little. There's a little box here you could donate right there.
Yeah, there you, there you go. That's where the
You got-
pennies go, right there.
Yeah, you got to like and subscribe.
That's right. Like and
Gotta pay for
subscribe.
vacation.
We got to get this, whatever Jennifer was saying. We got to get this on board, man, so we can afford some money to up our game.
We gotta
Lord
get some
knows
stickers.
we need some pennies.
I'm getting heavy. You know, I need an extra large shirt now.
Yeah. So
It's been going on too many of them beer cruises.
yeah, man.
That's it.
Dude, Mike, you're still in the game of running calls and stuff, bro. Do a lot of people still pay in cash?
It's getting less and less, man, because of Zelle.
Oh, but really? So Zelle's a hot thing in the field, right? So people like
Yeah.
to pay with Zelle?
Yep. So the vacation is getting paid by Zelle this week.
Huh.
Yeah.
What about PayPal and all those other ones? Is any of that going down, or is it like Zelle? Like, is this popular just in Florida, or is Zelle like pretty popular everywhere?
A lot of my customers have Zelle and Cash App.
Cash
They'll
App?
ask,
Dude,
yeah.
that sounds like WhatsApp or something.
right? That's what I said.
Yeah.
Because I don't have that, man. I got Zelle with my bank, right? So what I tell them is I go, hey, I'm not set up with credit card right now, so I was like, check, cash, or Zelle, and a lot of them start doing Zelle, man.
I just wanted to put that out there because if we don't get canceled, we're just trying really hard to get canceled.
I mean, I Jennifer, I'm laughing my tail off at the dog name there.
See, Jennifer, I'll say this. When I used to run service, it was nothing but checks, man. Like
Yeah.
checks was everything. And as far as I know, like in my family's business, it's still like that. When it's not a client where we're gonna bill them, you know what I'm saying? Because we had plenty of clients we bill. But anybody we weren't billing, dude, they were writing checks. Like checks was the way it was. And I just been out the circuit for a little bit. I didn't know if we've digitized that and checks have gone away, but I don't know.
Credit card and Zelle, man. That's where it's at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pedro. Okay, we got dog names coming in here, Chris. You got to pop some dog names up on the screen here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a
Pedro-
great idea. We do
Pedro
sticker,
Pookie Tate
and we can name the
Pascal.
dog. We do need to name the dog. I do like Pedro. Pedro.
No, look down 2 lines underneath that.
Pedro the super chat.
Tate
Pedro
Pascal.
Pascal, that's my man.
Call him Pascali. Pascali.
Pascali.
Pascali, the taping machine.
My buddy Pascali.
I dig it,
Pascali
man.
the tape
man.
dog.
Dude,
All
it's crazy up here, man. I went back home, went to New York City, man. I told the wife and kids, I was like, hey, it might be a little foggy out there. You know, we're going by the Brooklyn, we're going by the expressway and on the south side of Long Island. And little did I know, Canada wanted to just kind of throw all that gas that John Ellis was talking about that day.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
it looked orange, bro.
Really?
Crazy. You could barely see like the skyline, man. It was crazy.
So, man, what'd you do in New York City? I'm curious.
Yeah,
Like,
we
I
went
to
to
New York once, and it's pretty. I thought it was a blast, dude. It was super
Yeah.
cool. But I was there
went-
during the marathon, so it was like the town was lively, right? So I'm
Yeah.
curious, like, what is New York like when there's not something big going on like the marathon? Is it
Oh,
still
dude.
pretty cool, or?
You talking about Manhattan? You talking about Crooklyn? What are you talking about?
Well, like you're from there, right? So originally, when you go back, like what do you guys do? Well, let me say this. I've actually been in New York 2 times. I went to New York probably 15 years ago, and I was there briefly, and I was hanging out with a friend of mine's parents, and I wanted to go to the city. They drove me in. So we drove
Okay.
across the Washington Bridge or whatever, and we
Yeah.
parked like $100. And I remember going like, damn, dude, $100 just to park
Dude,
the car.
I'm still
was
getting
like,
the tolls
okay.
right now.
Yeah, so and then we went to man, I wish my wife was in here. She would know. There was this street in Brooklyn, I think it was, and
Okay.
we went to this like 5-generation restaurant that he just like had to take us to because he was adamant. Just like every local person, they always want to say, "Duh, that's the tourist stuff. I'm gonna take you to the real
The best
deal.
place.
Yeah, I'm gonna take you to the real deal."
Yeah.
And as we're walking down the street, this guy who I'm with, he talks to me. He goes, "Chris," he goes, "look tough. Make sure you look tough." And I'm like, "Where the hell are we going? What do you mean look tough? Dude, I'm 6'3", 235 pounds."
Yeah,
Like,
well, still, you don't want to look like a freaking tourist, you know?
he's like, "Look," he goes, "when you're on these streets, you gotta walk the walk, man." He goes, "You gotta let them know what's up." And I'm like, "Dude, how far away is this restaurant? Like, this just got really weird." But it was Italian Street. Have you ever heard of this street in Brooklyn?
No.
It's like an Italian street where like all the Italians live and have their restaurants. And it's like, oh, my wife's in here. She goes, "It's in the Bronx." I'm sorry.
In the Bronx, okay.
There's like Italian street in the Bronx. And so we went there and we went to this like 5th-generation Italian spot, and it was pretty cool. It was literally like walking into the movie Sopranos, dude. It was like the restaurant was empty. There was a table in the back with like 5 Italian guys that looked like they were all packing heat. The waiter
Don't get too friendly with anybody in the back, bro.
The waiter was he was probably about 62, right? But dressed like to perfection, bro. Like suit and tie.
He took you to a good spot. All right. Yeah.
Like the apron on. Like his etiquette was way above mine.
Yep.
And it was a really cool spot.
That's
Food
awesome.
wasn't very good. Just gonna say it. It was not my kind of food.
Oh,
Dude,
shit.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, dude. Southerner, come on, bro. We have good food.
I don't know, buddy. I don't know. Did he take you to a good bagel joint or what?
Oh, man, I'm gonna have to leave before we get a beatdown going on here.
Holy shit.
Mike's gonna be crawling through this camera here in a minute with it. What'd you say about my people?
I don't know. Were these guys Sicilian or what? What's going on?
I mean, dude, you had my gumbo this year. I mean, let's get real.
I need to know the name of this restaurant.
I had to go dig it up and let you know.
You let me know because we'll bring you to my aunt's and we'll cook you some real Italian food.
Lamella. I don't Man, I don't know. I don't remember the
I
name.
never heard of it.
My wife's got one of those brains. She doesn't forget anything. Maybe if she circles back, she could let us know. But
What's funny is you guys cook a lot of seafood. You know, I mean, you go to some Italian's house, we cook a lot of seafood.
yeah, but
You
you
know?
don't put anything hot in it.
No,
Y'all
the
love
hottest thing I do is pepper.
like you go anywhere up north, man. It's like lemon, butter, salt, and pepper. That's it. And
That's
it's like
it, pepper. That's the hottest shit we do.
that's it. That's what I'm saying.
That's it.
No
we-
Cajun seasoning, dude. No mixing it
yeah.
up with spice. I don't know.
I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
next
dude,
time-
I bought 3 dozen bagels from New York. I'm in PA right now. The bagels were amazing in my hometown.
What's so good about bread?
I don't know. I tell you, the salt baying like crack or cocaine in these bagels. I don't know what it is, man. They were better than I remember because I've been out of there for 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I don't know. The guy wakes up at 3 a.m. to make these bagels.
I will tell you this, man. The pizza in Brooklyn that I had was pretty legit. Like
Yeah.
the pizza was pretty next level. I will say this. Best
It's
pizza
good,
I've had
man.
in New York City. Yeah.
It's good. Yeah,
All right.
man.
Next time you come up here, Chris, just come on over. Rachel will hook you up with some hot food. Yeah.
Bro, Indianapolis ain't got no good food. Come on.
Wow.
Chris is on a stomping. He said,
I guess what?
When is
"Ow."
been on the news for quality food, man? Dude, only
All right,
dude,
Eric.
y'all got
Let's
Indy
let-
cards, bro.
Chris is going to do the show by himself now.
Yeah. You're on your own, dude. I mean, like, I'm not talking about Indianapolis because Indianapolis is known for its food scene, number one. And number two, I'm talking about my wife's cooking, not the Indianapolis cooking.
I didn't know that's what you meant, bro. Sorry. Tell Rachel I'm sorry.
Did your homeboy bring you to a nice pastry joint or what? Did you get any rainbow cookies, bro?
You talking about me? No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, man.
I don't know
Come
these
on now.
secrets. I got
I'm about to go to the refrigerator and show you some good rainbow cookies.
Oh yeah.
I think
Good Italian pastries.
I mean, we got some good German pastries that I love in Indianapolis. We got all kinds of good food, though, man. Man, I don't know.
There was a lot of Germans in my hometown, man.
Oh,
Good German
man, we got
pastry joint. Yeah.
a lot of Germans in the Midwest because the funny thing was a couple of years ago, I got a chance to go to Germany and riding the train through Germany, I'm looking out the windows and I'm like, this looks like home. And it does. It looks just like the Midwest.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there
So
was
a lot of
big
them
German influence in my hometown, man. And it did a lot of pastry shops, a lot of pubs,
Oh, man.
and
German,
big influence.
there ain't nothing better than good German pastries. Oh,
We just didn't like their politics, that's all.
I will say this, man. When I was at Disney World and I went to the German area, their pastries were pretty legit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this about Disney World, but Disney World like hires the people who are from like that country to come in and like cook, and then they'll ship all the products. Like the Italian place that we had pizza at one night, I was talking to the waiter, and he said that they import the water to make the dough for the pizza in the Italian joint in Disney
All
World.
right. That's from what I heard. That's what I heard is the secret. So
Yeah. The
I
water,
was going to a training in Muskegon, Michigan, and I meet up with these 3 jokers, and they're environmental scientists, right? And I go, hey, what are you guys doing here, right? And he goes, we're testing the water, right? I was like, all right, what are you testing the water for? And he goes, well, we're testing to make sure it's healthy. I go, well, from where I live in Long Island, New York, the water must be horrible. He goes, no, the water there is beautiful. It comes from like an aquifer all the way up by Canada. And he says it's amazing water. And that's what a lot of people do is they take water from that aquifer and they ship it out.
yeah.
And the hypothesis, I don't know if this is true, but this is the good one. You nailed it, bro. The
Water is
fucking water.
And like, you know, New Orleans is known for its French bread, right? And it's
Yeah.
hard and it's chewy. And I've never made the French bread here, so I don't know all about it. But
You
I've
talking about baguettes?
no, I'm talking about French bread. French bread. But they say it's because of the water. They say that comes from the water. And if you don't have the water like you have over here, then it wouldn't be hard and chewy. And
I think they're on it, man. I think that is it.
I don't know
What do
if
you think,
ever
Eric?
had a shrimp po' boy in the quarter, or an oyster po' boy in the quarter, or hot sausage po' boy in the quarter, or a boudin po' boy in the quarter. Or I could keep going on and on if you want me to, but anyway.
I don't know. I think you guys put too much spice in there just to mess, to make it,
I think we got to get Chris to like graduate out of, New Orleans cooking is good, but I think you need to branch out a little bit more and come out into the rest of the world and experience some other stuff.
Nah, man, I realized that I'm just a Southerner, bro, and it's never gonna be like. I don't want to branch out, man. Like I like what I like.
I'm a Southern Yankee. Come on now.
Like I have experienced food. I've had friends when I go to like New Jersey take me to go eat like the crab cakes, and they brag. And like I hear for like a month before I go, my buddy's like, dude, you gotta have the crab cakes here. Best you ever have in your life. And then I go there and I eat the crab cakes, and the whole time I'm going,
tastes like stinky Blue Claw.
No, I'm like, dude, did they not know how to clean a crab? Like,
I know, right?
I'm eating shells out the whole time.
Get the freaking shell out of there, right?
I'm like, bro, did they need me to come back there and show them how to clean a crab? By the way, have you ever seen anybody clean a crab with a pair of scissors? Because that's how it's done professionally, bro. Yeah.
Right here.
No, man. You go to, so I put probably about an hour and a half away from my house, I put some refrigeration equipment in a crab house, the place where like all the crabs come in, right? And they sort through them, ship them around the world. And then they have another area where the crabs, the people are processing the crabs. And bro, you should see how fast they can clean a crab with a pair of scissors. It is crazy.
That's cool.
And that's the first time I had ever seen anybody use a pair of scissors to clean a crab.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, it was wild.
Those are industrial crab scissors. They're not your run-of-the-mill.
Oh, I'm sure.
Paper scissors.
Yeah. They're hammered down scissors.
Dude, last time I got Blue Claw in a trap, I steamed them, and that's not normally what we do it up in the Northeast. We usually boil them. So we steamed them. They came out really good, man. You ever steam them?
Steam a what?
Steam a Blue Claw?
Are you calling a blue claw a blue crab?
A Blue Claw crab. That's what I call them. What do we call them down in Louisiana?
We call them
Bayou Blue.
I mean, so the crabs that we eat here come from the Pontchartrain, which is a very big lake that I live like 1 mile away from, and we call them the Pontchartrain blue crabs. Now, here's a little secret I'll teach you, man. The Pontchartrain blue crabs, when you go buy crabs and you're here, you turn the crab upside down, right? And you look for it to be really dirty. If it's really dirty, it'll have weight, and that's a meaty crab. If you go in the grocery store and the crab's really clean and white on the bottom, that crab ain't full of meat, and you're going to do a lot of work for not a lot of stuff to eat. I'm just saying.
Okay.
So I won't go to like a grocery chain. I won't go to like Rouse's or a big store and buy crabs. I'll only go like to a legit place that's like, probably has a fishery tied to it, like a small mom and pop shop. They know.
Let me ask you this: do the females have red claws?
Dude, I don't know. This is above my crab knowledge right now.
I was crabbing since I was like 7 years old, so I'm sorry, man.
I do know this.
I might as well grew up in the bayou.
So speaking on seafood, there's a pretty famous restaurant in New Orleans that's known for its oysters, right? So I didn't know this, but I have a friend who fishes for oysters. Him and his dad run a business doing that. And when the water is pushing in, the salinity is moving in with it. So
up higher, yeah.
So you want to catch your oysters when the water is going in instead of out, because the salinity is way high and you have salty oysters, which is what everybody wants. But
that's right.
If you catch your way out,
Faizan.
What up? So if you catch your oysters on the way out, the salinity goes way down, which the historic conversation that goes with this restaurant that I can't think of the name
Speaking
of.
of Pedro Pascal,
But the dude would only buy his oysters if he knew there was an incoming tide.
yeah,
So he would have.
That's-
you don't want no like freshwater oysters.
We can't hear you, Jenry. We can't hear you, but we can see that gold chain.
That's Mr. Pascali himself right there. Mad Pascali. That's what his name is.
That's Mad Air Pascale.
Yeah, there you go. No, yeah, we still can't hear you.
Can't hear you, bro.
You could sign that shit tonight.
There you go.
You know what's funny is I almost heard his hands do the air. I heard the air. Oh shit! They're shooting fireworks out here already. Damn.
So, what are you guys doing for the 4th, man?
Now
Dude,
he's going.
my buddy, his brother is an absolute firework maniac. He bought 2 pallets of fireworks, man.
Oh yeah, nice.
I'm gonna help him rig it up tomorrow, man. Yeah, the kids are going to Hershey Park, and I'm gonna go help them load up like about, I don't know, 2-3 pallets of fireworks, man.
Yeah, and next week we'll be calling you Three Fingers Sanfrocco.
Bro,
That's the one thing about New York is, man, we get illegal fireworks and always keep our fingers. Good pizza, and we know how to fix shit.
well, fix it is such a
Right,
strong
Pascali?
term.
Ah,
Maybe rig shit. Maybe is what you were shooting for.
tip in the jar here. Throw a dog
So
a
I'm-
bone, you know what I mean?
So I'm gonna be putting ductwork in my brother-in-law's house over 4th of July. That's my
Dude, you got to do duck work on 4th of July. America's,
Yep.
Independence Day. You're going to celebrate your independence with doing duck work?
my brother-in-law is gonna be celebrating independence from heat.
Independent from heat.
What's up, man? What kind of duck work are you running? What are you putting in?
It's a mix of metal and
Duckboard?
no duckboard. Metal. It's a hybrid system, and I'm going to get yelled at from the RIA people because I'm doing a hybrid metal and RIA system.
Oh, you're putting in the RIA system?
Yep.
Nice.
Nice. Wait, you said a hybrid between the RIA system and what?
Metal, just metal square duct. So in the RIA system, they have just a plenum that comes off of
Right.
air handler, off the furnace, right? And then all the runs go out from there.
Yeah. Oh, wait,
Except,
so if anybody who's never heard this, let's recap, man. So the RIA system,
Like
Is
high
all-
pressure, right?
but Eric, I know you know a lot more about it. Tell everybody what we're talking about here.
the RIA system is small duct, medium velocity. So it uses a standard air handler. You can hook it up to any normal equipment, but it all uses like 3 and 4 inch ducts. The 4 inches
Okay.
for really long runs. The 3 inch is small enough that it goes inside the walls so that it keeps all the ducts inside of conditioned space.
Oh,
It's
wow.
going into a lot of new houses today. And what they do is, if you need more air in a room, you put in more outlets. You don't put in a bigger outlet, you just put in more outlets to get more air into a room, because you're typically running anywhere between 10 to 30 CFM into an outlet.
I dig it, man. That's cool.
So I've been in a couple houses where it's in there, and the air distribution is typically a lot more even in a room.
So when you say you're doing a hybrid, I'm confused on what do you mean by hybrid? Are you going to run like a trunk line out of metal and then tap it as
Yes.
and that way you don't have to do a bunch of home runs? Or
Well,
you were
right. So
Right.
what I had, I opted to do a little bit different on this because, let's face it, I do weird stuff, and this is how we, break things. But
You're
I
weird.
designed
that.
I designed this one to be zoned, so I ran a trunk out for each zone,
Okay.
so that I can damper each zone.
You ever hear of this, Pedro Pascal?
How can you do a proper manual D with that as a hybrid?
Oh yeah, you can do them because I mean, manual D will work just fine with it if you want to do it.
Yeah.
You just have to set your available static pressure up high enough.
And put dampers in all the main trunks?
Well, I don't put a damper in the. I'm putting a damper in there for the zone system. I'm not putting an airflow damper. In RIA, all the airflow is dampered at the outlet.
At the outlet, okay.
So when you said hybrid, here's where my brain went with that. I was thinking 2-story house, rheostat feeds the first floor, duct stay in conditioned space, and you were going to run like a trunk up into the attic where it was going to be unconditioned because you knew you couldn't put those ducts in the attic space, and so you were like, I'm going to run normal duct work up and down, right? For the
No,
You
he's gonna put a little Kaiser on there. That's all.
You can actually
nice.
run those ducts. Okay, you can actually run those ducts into attic space because they have an insulated option.
Oh, they do. Well, that's
Yes.
interesting. Now,
They
what's
don't recommend. It is not recommended. It is recommended for the house to be built with a chase and keep the ducts inside conditioned space because of the issues that you get with condensation running cooling ducts into hot, humid attics.
so? What kind of grill goes on the end of these RIA ducts? Is it
They
just-
have. It's basically just a white plastic grill that, kind of a straight
circular,
throw.
right?
No, not well. So in the ceiling, they have round ones that go in the ceiling. In the walls, they have rectangular ones.
So you're-
Most of their stuff ends up going in the walls, high sidewall, and you aim it to blow out across the ceiling and wipe the exterior wall.
So you're running like a Unico duct system, essentially.
It's kind of like a Unico duct system, but it's not high velocity and it's not high pressure.
It's medium velocity.
It's called medium velocity, and it runs within the standard. I'm putting a Bosch system on this one, and it runs within standard air handler pressures.
Okay. It's like where my shirts have been running lately. Medium, a little tight. A little tight.
Little medium type.
Now, can you use your own air handler with this? So it's got to be its own air handler, right?
What's up, Jason?
No, I'm using
Hey,
a Bosch
JJ.
air handler.
Oh, use Bosch air. Okay, nice.
Yeah, you use
I'm
it
liking
with
that.
you use it with any standard air handler.
Are
Well,
you going?
I tell you what, Eric. There's this little Facebook group called the Grapevine. Just keep us posted, please.
Yeah.
I'll invite you after tonight, and
You should do that. Invite me into that group.
I'm going to invite you in there, buddy.
So-
All right, just keep us in the loop. I want to know more about it.
If anybody's new to the Grapevine, well, first off, if you're not in the Grapevine, you should be. But if you have recently joined the Grapevine in the last week,
Golly, what happened?
I'm curious to know if you're one of those people because I'm like, where the hell all these people came from? I don't know. But there was this
It's like-
influx of like 60 people over the course of a week.
I
And
thought Eric was inviting everybody.
yeah, I thought so. I was like, damn, Eric's finally doing his part, bro. No, but man, it was crazy. Like just people kept coming in. It usually tells me who invited who. None of these people
Right.
were like, invited. They were just like finding their way here organically. And I'm curious to know how that happened.
Maybe YouTube. I don't know.
That I don't know.
Don't know.
It's all from a super chat, you know.
Yep. Oh, had a homeowner buy his own True Flow this week. Bro,
I love that post. I love it.
Bro, I can't. I
Test
gotta
it, baby.
I gotta kind of keep names and whatnot secret because I don't want to rat anybody out. But dude, the stories he was telling me, oh my, this new construction house, it's got like 9 air conditioners in it, big old mansion, right? Super fancy house. This house has actually been featured on TV.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so the owner is super, super nerdy. And he's had fits, bro, the whole way with his air conditioner company and all this stuff. And he calls me. He's like, hey, he goes, I want to buy my own True Flow. And I'm like,
Heck
okay.
yeah.
I'm like, okay. And he's like, can you help me out? Let me know which adapter plates I need, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, sure, man. I'm like, no problem. Send me your model numbers. And he's
Nice.
like, I'm gonna send you my plans, my specs, my this, my that. And he unloaded, bro. And then he literally told me, he goes, Chris, he goes, y'all's trade is so broken. He goes, how can the trade be this broken? He goes,
It is.
He's like, I've asked people about Manual J, Manual D, Manual S. He goes, I bought all the books. I've been reading the books. He goes, I'm watching these podcasts from you guys. And this is a comment he did make to me. He goes, all of you guys who are doing all this awareness, he goes, it's really good. He goes, that's how I've been able to kind of keep up. He said, but y'all are kind of leaving the details out in conversation. He goes, I'm really having a hard time with the details. He goes, y'all skip over a lot of stuff.
We do, because we assume everybody's a technician.
That's right. And
We do.
he literally said, he goes, I don't know.
Especially Eric, because he's so damn smart.
Yeah.
You know? He's always he's talking up here, you know? You got to bring it down here, you know?
It's a reality check, man. We got to start remembering, like, it's not just HVAC techs watching our content, man. We've got homeowners watching this content, and they're wanting to DIY some stuff. And I'm not against that, bro. Like, if a homeowner is educated enough to DIY and do a good job, I'm all about it. Like, let it rip.
I think that's cool, man.
And especially in a case like this, like where he's tried to get professional HVAC technicians out there to do a job, and they won't. And I've talked to some of those homeowners. Like, if y'all out there are doing a crappy job, you might expect your homeowners to go out there and, oh, is that what we are now? Oh, all right.
Damn.
Welcome to the Hack Club.
Oh, right.
Hey,
Bro, what's up?
Whoa, hey, what's
going
going
on?
on, Brett?
House.
I was trying to get on earlier, but I was putting my kid to bed, so I apologize. I was trying to get on because, like, I have like 4,000 different questions to ask you guys.
Hey, man, family first, Brett.
Hey, it's like 9:00.
I know.
We gotta go, man.
I know.
Brett, where do you live with all that sunshine coming out, though?
I live in Texas, man. It's 8:00.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm in Louisiana. It's dark outside.
Yeah, I'm in the basement.
Yeah,
It's always dark.
I was actually just in Florida this week. I was we were doing training on I put together a presentation. They have a CO2 subcritical pump liquid / cascade system. So like the guys like were like kind of leery about working on it or whatever. So I made this presentation and we did a wham bam thank you ma'am at the facility, and you know they're a lot more comfortable now. But so I was out there this week. Where are you at? Where are all you guys at right now?
Louisiana.
All right. Eric?
I'm in Illinois right now.
Okay. Mike, where are you at?
I'm originally from New York.
I couldn't
Moved
tell.
to Florida. And I'm on vacation in Pennsylvania.
I was
hanging out with this guy.
I was thinking maybe like Hempstead or Garden City, somewhere around there.
You know, you ever hear of Amityville?
I do.
The
I have.
horror house?
Hey,
yeah,
whoa, wait
I'm
a minute.
2 towns
That's-
over,
that-
Lindenhurst.
I don't know nothing about
Lindenhurst,
that.
Long Island.
Brett, you said you got questions, bro.
Yes. There's way too many. I would like to write down a whole bunch.
We direct all the good answers that need to come from Eric. So just to let you know, he's the brain.
All right. Well, I mean, do you guys want to throw me an email? Because I got a laundry list of shit. Like I went to a facility one time and we were trying to figure out why. So they had this unit that was upstairs on the roof. It was basically an air conditioner, but it was actually like for refrigerated space. And it had 2 chambers of air. So one side it would run all the time. And then when it would go into a defrost, because you're running like a 20-degree saturated, basically blocks down dampers, shuts down the airflow, opens up the other one, and lets now that side refrigerate the space. And we had an instance where the ductwork, we were trying to figure out why we had warm spots in there. And even though you had, these pieces of ductwork that were just straight cut open, I didn't understand why the air wasn't essentially coming out. So you do it in airflow, just see how much CFM is coming out. One section, it would be, 15 CFM, and then you move it, 3 feet over this way. And then all of a sudden you got 500 CFM. So like there was no turning vanes in there. And so that was an instance, but I also was told, transitions could potentially cause that. Like I said, I got a laundry list of shit I want to ask you guys, but I'd like to
I
get
think
on.
we need some diagrams to hear. We need like whiteboards, and I mean that's some heavy stuff right there.
I got some shit.
From my brain and the ticking of what you just told me, I'm painting the picture in my mind, and just to like, and I'm imagining you're in there with like a mini vane or a handomometer going on, and what I'm visualizing is massive turbulent air, and it's like slamming to one side coming out of the duct, and you're just like here. Basically, I would say that's a tool accuracy problem. And so like if you're getting like 3 CFM, 500 CFM, you're dealing with
Chris, what is that? The Bernoulli effect? What do you got?
Well, okay, let's back up here. Where
That-
are you saying? You're saying CFM, right?
Mhm.
Where is that CFM coming from? What kind of an instrument are you using to measure this?
Testo, something. I wasn't using a hood. We were just trying to run rough estimate because we were trying to figure out why they had such dead spots.
like
Okay,
Right.
So you're using an anemometer or like a hot wire or a minivan anemometer?
yeah, like
Uh,
did it have a wheel on it that would spin?
the fan
pitot
style,
tube?
but also Testo
Okay.
makes one that's measures FPM and CFM. Yeah.
So
So
you don't
maybe a pitot tube.
measure CFM with that.
Mhm.
The only thing that measures is velocity, and
Mhm.
you have to put in an area in order for it to calculate CFM.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the only thing it's going to measure is velocity.
Okay.
So you're talking about measuring feet per minute with that. And if you input the proper area, it can calculate the
Yes.
CFM, but it's not going
Right.
to do that accurately unless you have an accurate area.
And this is
And
why I
then
love
you
the
have to
True
do it.
Flow grid so much.
And then you have to do an accurate traverse pattern in order to get any kind of an accurate CFM reading out of that. And
Okay.
doing it out of a grill or
It's
out of a diffuser
Mhm.
is a nightmare.
Well,
Well,
it's
Skip.
impossible to get accuracy because the
Yes.
speed will tell you. I mean,
Skip
you
that.
need at least 10 foot of duck. Like if you're trying to measure, say, a 10-inch duck, round, square, whatever, you got to have at least 10 feet. If you don't have at least 10 feet, you can forget it with that tool.
Yeah.
Like
Friends
it's-
don't
yeah.
let friends traverse duck. Get a True Flow grid or like a nice flow, capture flow grid.
Yeah, and what Eric's
Now-
talking about, the traverse pattern, I mean, if you're in a 10-inch duck, you're at least probably taking 16 spots of measurement and then averaging
And,
those.
and listen,
less
I've done it for
than-
kitchen hoods. I've done it with Testo hot wire.
Now,
But,
what size of duct and outlet are you dealing with here,
Yeah.
Brett? Because
My
I
duct
know
was
you
round.
deal with some seriously big stuff.
Yeah.
rectangle.
I mean, it was rectangle probably to start. It was probably
Yeah, skip
50,
that. Nope.
50 by something or other, and then honestly, I think what ended up coming up of it, I think there was no turning vanes in there, so that was you had dead spots where the air just was was totally
What-
bypassed. Was totally
So-
bypassed the diffusers, as well as it wasn't transitioned properly. So you had like you had stated before, very violent air throughout the ductwork, not allowing it to properly come out the way it should.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got turns, especially sharp elbows with no turning vanes in there, think of any time you turn the air
Mhm.
like an intersection that you're driving a car through.
Mhm.
Okay. Or you can think of it just like putting a sharp 90 in a refrigeration pipe.
Mhm.
What happens?
Or
Uh,
if you go to Louisiana and you get some of that nasty fast food and it goes through your intestines really quick.
I was thinking, like,
It burns that corner up real good.
I was
but-
gonna say the beer hot dogs at Yankee Stadium as well.
Oh, there you go. You got me.
I was thinking, like, if you're in a 22-foot Skeeter bay boat, center console, tunnel hole, and you were making a turn through Bayou Lafourche, right? And you were
Yeah.
coming to the turn and you just can't carry it, and you think you're going to
Yeah.
beat it, but you don't, but you're close to. That's what static regain is right there, man.
And then you want to test like, well, how many turns I got on that prop? Eh,
Right.
yeah, get a True Flow grid. Screw it.
Velocity on
Yeah.
that prop right now.
When you're talking about having that kind of stuff, and you're talking about the velocity and it trying to make those sharp turns, and again, that's where drawings come in to help on a problem like this.
Yeah.
I would want to know what kind of elbows and fittings and what you're talking about, because there's all kinds of stuff. But to me, anytime I'm visualizing airflow, I think of cars going down a road, right? And those cars are like the molecules of air. And if you bring a car up to a sharp intersection, right, and you try to make that sharp 90-degree turn, you got to slow it way down for it to make that turn. If you slow it down, it'll make it just fine. But if you're
Chris,
going to keep
you
it
got
at
some
full
good videos
velocity,
on that. Yeah.
you got to make a nice sweeping turn, right, to go around that corner and keep it up at full speed. Or you got to put the turning vanes in there that act like rails, kind of essentially, and it chops that up into little slices to make the
Well,
corner.
one of the things that I did realize why it wasn't doing it, because you're talking about the 90, right? You have to have a significant amount of 90 enough for that air to want to travel that way anyway, right? So all they did was just cut and put up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I was bypassing all that air. But I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm gonna get you guys prints so you guys can we can talk
Believe it
through
or
this
not,
whole spiel. God.
Believe it or not, Brett, you could actually create an intake and you could suck in. If there's a little bit of duct leakage right there and that air's crashing and coming around, you'll get a void pocket. You can actually take a manometer and measure negative pressure in the supply.
Mhm.
We were saying, where's the warm air coming from? It's possible that you're sucking in hot air right in this crashing turn, and you're pulling hot air into the duct.
Yeah.
You actually could have a supply grill bringing air inward into the duct instead of out.
It causes it causes almost like a Venturi effect. Like
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
I used to work on Desiccant air dryers, and so you had these 50-pound bags of Desiccant that you had to put in this big tank, and you're talking pallets of Desiccant because you're talking, let's just say 100, 10,000 CFM worth of compressed air or whatever, and they had an opening that was this big. We'll try to pour a 50-pound bag of concrete in a little hole like this. So I ended up having to I took a water cooler tank, screwed it into the actual big T, drilled a small hole into this big, like I think it was like 1.5 inch T, and then put a compressed air line through it and let the Venturi of the air that I was shooting in carry the Desiccant up a hose up in there and limit the amount of time. So I understand the Venturi effect.
What's going on?
We got more people.
The homeowner's here.
Right on.
I got the dog.
Hey, let's tell him what's wrong with his air conditioner. Tell him everything you told us that was wrong with it on the show.
Oh yeah, I got him. Did you shoot off that cake? Oh, you didn't wait for me? What the frig? The expensive cake? They're shooting fireworks off without me.
Oh man,
Unbelievable.
So
I
Brett,
missed the fireworks show, damn it.
dude, you've got a show or two shows, right?
Yeah.
Dude, tell the audience, man. Tell us about the shows.
So I do Advanced Refrigeration podcast with my co-host Kevin Compass. We've been doing that for about 2.5 years. We're just about, I think we're 500 views away from, or 500 downloads away from having 200,000 downloads.
Rock on. Rock on.
Cooler Heads, which is basically my therapy session.
I've caught some Cooler Head shows.
Being able to talk about that, and then for my real job, because apparently people really don't know what I do. I'm in charge of all the training for a company called CoolSys out of Brea, California, and we have 4 training centers. Constantly making curriculum, come up with new things, coming up with new technologies that need to be taught, for the new technicians. I'm actually trying to convince a couple different manufacturers to give me some VRF stuff. So I'm putting VRF in our CoolSys Lake commercial curriculum because,
Let me ask you a question. I've heard that this was coming, but I haven't seen it. But is VRF going to get into the low temp market and use the same condensers to feed low temp and air conditioning in, say, a grocery store at the same time?
Yeah, I would. There are some compressors that say X, like for extended range, that you can run them a little bit lower.
Yeah.
You're talking about compression ratio. One thing I don't dig about VRF is the control strategy.
Yeah.
Right. So with rack refrigeration, right, the rack just runs a certain saturated, right? So if I was a VRF, I'd just say run 38 degrees saturated, run that shit all the time unless you're trying to dehumidify, right? Then run it a little bit colder, right?
Yep. Right.
Their stuff, I don't like fuzzy logic. I don't like not understanding, like, oh, we're trying to maintain mass flow and just trying to maintain about a 15 to 20 degree superheat. I don't dig that. Why don't we just let the expansion valves do what they're going to do? Let the freaking compressor do the capacity of the suction control the way it is, and everyone's fat, dumb, and happy, because you guys know as soon as your suction pressure starts delving down, your TD gets messed up and then your superheat gets whacked.
They kind of work like that to an extent. Like I did some BRV. I never did any other brands, but like the outdoor unit would run its superheat, and then the indoor units would run their own superheat. But man, the control logic, like you said, man, there is there's so many nuances to the equipment. Like if one cassette head goes down, depending on who wired up, it could shut the whole damn thing down because the way it was wired up to the board. And some of this it was like that's the way it was till the next generation came out. And there is a lot of electrical nuances. You have to find every cassette. It has to communicate. It has to be programmed. I'm with you to that extent. It's like, man, why does all these cassettes have to know talking back and forth with the condenser? Like, why you have refrigerant moving back and forth? Does the condenser not know? I mean, it already knows to scale up and down. Why is there such a need for this communication?
Well, that's the other thing too. Like, whenever I've talked to people from like these manufacturers that make, whether it be Carrier, Fujitsu, whoever, we come to it seems like there always comes to the point where like, wow, that's a weird one. We got to replace that board.
Yeah.
Really? Seriously?
I love.
We're just gonna pull that right there and just be like do the
we've
board.
ever had this problem. This is the first time
Well,
we've had this problem.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say something. So I had to start doing it. I'm editing right now, but like I had to do a more better attempt at editing the podcast because my co-host just likes to bash every manufacturer because everything's garbage. And I found out that I went to go visit a manufacturer and I told him before, I was like, I'm going to enter this building. If I disappear, they've dropped equipment on me and I'm dead. It's all your fault. And this is what the deal is. So they tell me, they're like, oh yeah, we have ARP memos. I'm like, shut up. He's like, yeah, if you guys say some stuff, we actually put it through our engineers. We're like, hey, find out if this is true or not. So at first when I started doing this, like I started like I was playing with the Rodecaster and just making a beep button, but I could never catch it whenever you would start saying shit. So like finally I'm just like, so in the podcast, like I'll say there's a keyword that I use whenever he starts bashing a manufacturer. God, I hate you is usually what I'm looking for. So I use the script to edit my podcast. They edit the podcast. So I'm there's keywords I look for. Okay, got to take those out. Yes, got to take those out. Got to take those out. I effing hate you. Yeah, I got okay. All right, he was talking about this manufacturer. I got to take that one out.
I don't know, bro. I'd say let it rip. Like. I like it to feel.
I still know because I still have because you know what? This is a story that happened. So Kevin was talking about a certain type of a Batic gas cooler for CO2.
Okay.
And I was making curriculum for CO2 for my guys at CoolSys. And I had to call the guy because I had a question. And I'm like, hey, this is Brett Wetzel from CoolSys. And I had some questions I wanted to talk to you about for your control strategy and stuff like that. He's
Uncle
like,
Tony wants to talk to you. Hold on.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So then he's like, oh, by the way, our equipment is not called the Pump and Dump 5000. I didn't say it. I didn't say it. Kevin, not me. Don't kill me. Dude, I know. It's crazy, man. It really is.
Guilt by association.
A lot of money.
Dude, the truth hurts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Well, what's cool is people like us are starting to move and shake and get these bastards off their asses.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, now here's the thing, because I've kind of been on both sides of this because I've worked around manufacturers when I work for a distributor, and I've, of course, been on the technician side, and I've been around a few different positions. Yeah. And a lot of times what ends up happening when we as technicians end up bad-mouthing something and say something, it may be for a reason, but a lot of times it's because we don't understand it. And the reason we don't understand it, I find it falls back on the manufacturers because they're not doing a great job of explaining to it, or they're black boxing it, or they're hiding something that we should know about it. So, I mean, and some of it's on us that maybe we didn't read the information that was out there.
I would agree. The black boxing information really drives me bonkers, dude. I've been on some of these red carpet tours to equipment manufacturers, and the stuff the engineers can tell you behind closed doors will blow your mind. And you're like, why isn't that in the manual? They're like, well, we wanted it in the manual, but our lawyers said no.
Now, on the flip side of that, I've also had problems with manufacturers where they bring features out, and I'm like, they tell me, oh, you got to have, you can't know how that works. Mm-hmm. And I said, I can test it. I've got the equipment. And they said, oh, we don't know how to test it.
So this is one of the worst things that I hate. right? Is when like Mike said, where we've never heard of that issue before, right?
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
there was a certain type of case at a certain type of supermarket. I'm going to be really, really vague. And this is on a single system. It has a bunch of pulse width PWM expansion valves.
Hmm.
The suction pressure is already running rather low. I'm sorry. It's running. It's supposed to be a 28 degree saturated to maintain a 32 degree case, and it was running -12. So you guys know what happens, right? When you guys run an extended TD, right? So if it was originally designed for a 10 degree TD and you end up running a 20 degree TD, now that coil is no longer, let's just say it was originally a 1 ton coil. Now it's a 2 ton coil. Every 10 degrees, or whenever you're doubling the TD, it doubles in size of the actual coil, which means the expansion valve has to be bigger.
Now that's on the refrigeration side.
Yes,
Of
sir.
things specifically because
refrigeration ain't my bag, but so I'm curious, like what happens to the case in an extreme TD like that?
Running high superheat, because then the expansion valve stays the same size it was, right? So if you have a WKE 120 coil, that's a low profile electric defrost 1 ton coil. If you look at the engineering guide, it'll say this is a 1 ton coil at a 10 degree TD, and if you run it at a 15 degree TD, now it's a 1.5 tons. If you run it at a 20 degree TD, now it's a 2 ton coil. So because they're running an excessive low suction pressure, it had like a 40 degree TD. So the thing was running medium temp superheat on refrigerated cases should be running around 6 to 8 degrees of superheat, right? This was running
So we
30.
do put a bunch of coffee makers in there.
Hold on, I'm drawing a blank. I'm trying to work this out in my head, and something's not making sense. Is the expansion valve can open up all the way, or does
It is opened up all the way? It's a pulse width expansion valve that's sized for the capacity of the coil. So let's just say originally it was supposed to be a 1 ton coil at a 10 degree TD, and now we have a 1 ton coil there. But now that we're running a 20 degree TD, now the coil is essentially a 2 ton coil, but the expansion valve isn't going to change size, right? It's going to stay the same damn size it was. So you run an excessively high superheat.
The valve can't feed enough to keep the coil fed
Correct.
at 20 degree TD. So you boil all the refrigerant off halfway through the coil,
First pass.
and now you got now you're looking at superheat through the wazoo.
Well, so then this is essentially what happens, right? So not only are you running a high TD, right? So you're running a high superheat, which means your compressor isn't getting adequate cooled, right? If you're running 30 degrees of superheat, you're already running like a 40 degree line. Because you're running a high superheat, you're getting frosting only on like a couple passes, which then stops airflow. So then your suction pressure deviates even lower. And then essentially what happens is your compressor now is operating outside of its operating envelope. You know what I mean?
And
So
then,
it's running,
then
so
you
it
get
goes off an internal.
Yeah, I was about to say your compressor overheats, and then is trying to think, where does the oil? Does it create the oil return problem as well?
Well,
I mean,
it pumps down 6 times. It pumps down 6 times a day during defrost, so you're always getting that full pump down 6 times a day at least.
I got you.
I'm sorry, dude. I didn't mean to keep you guys on. I know you guys want to jet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it was. Dude. I mean, you brought air conditioning to the air conditioning show.
I like the
Yeah, we were
refrigeration,
talking
man.
about food and
Yeah,
crabby
it was
people.
all
and
about blue
grumpy.
crabs tonight, man. I mean, it was 4th of July. You know, there's
I
gonna
know.
be.
I was trying to drop every New York reference I had. My wife's from Hempstead, Long Island.
Hempstead, baby.
Yeah,
Long
man.
Island.
So Brett, yeah, no, we what do you so just to close it out, man? I'll let you have final word. What do you think how companies should handle the 3-day holiday, bro? What's the right move in your opinion?
3-day holiday.
Yeah,
3-day weekend.
3-day weekend.
3-day weekend.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
the on-call schedule for that?
I don't know. I'm not on call anymore. I can't say anything about that.
Me too.
I made fun of for having girly hands now, so I think actually, to be honest with you, I think Manzo has more calluses on her hands than I do at this point.
Nice. All right, guys, shutting it down. See y'all next Sunday.
It was good seeing you guys.
Yep.
See you guys.
Stay safe.
All right, bye.